How are you today?
Uh, Thrilled and excited to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, you are in the Twin Cities and you are doing some amazing. We just spoke a little bit backstage. Wow, you are doing such amazing work and so many closings just to understand COVID going on and with everything going on in in your state. That's amazing. So, um, wow, welcome to the 10-minute lab.
Thank you.
All right, so let's take this away. Let me ask you, what keeps you up in the night, in the middle of the night?
Um, I very often worry about the clients who are not winning, and I keep wondering what I can do better to help them win. And very often it's clients who are FHA approved and all because it's a seller's market and it's very tough for FHA buyers to win in such a tough market. And housing is a big issue, and that is my passion. That's one of the biggest reasons I quit my previous career to get into so I could see more minority communities or enjoy home ownership.
Right.
And I like to think of different strategies, but but I always get why we get clients from different price points. The ones who are the lower price point, the FHA, the ones who need my strategic brain, are the ones who I love and worry a lot about.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
I can totally relate to that because the prices are going so
exactly.
high in so many different areas, and especially your area as well as our area here.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get those clients into homes, right? Especially with the low down payment and,
Yep.
the VA buyers that we have. And it's what can we do to go above and beyond?
Yep. One of the things I like to do is I like to think about all the different things. Firstly, I like to tell realtors, I get asked this question often. I like to tell realtors to make housing more equitable. We can all talk about fair housing and
Right.
housing is our passion, but how can you be that realtor who stands out because you are passionate about housing for others. For
Exactly.
starters, I like to tell all realtors to try to get to know about the different first-time homebuyer programs.
Good
Okay,
one.
okay. There are different programs out there. Get to know the nonprofits out there. Get to know the land trust folks. Get to know the principals sitting on the board who are making those approvals. Get to know council members if need be. Another thing I like to do is also study the FHA requirements. Different states it changes differently. It's
Right.
and it depends upon the appraiser. But nonetheless,
Right.
always try to stay calm, stay cool, and both as a listing agent and as a buyer's agent, I try to think of strategies on how your client can win.
Exactly. How do you make it a win-win for both sides, right? Absolutely. And let me ask you this.
Because
Yeah, and
ultimately, we are the conduit between both parties.
exactly.
We need to set our egos aside, and very often I'm hearing that a lot of complaints. A lot of we get quite a lot of clients who have fired their previous realtors and want to work with my team because our mission has always been the Vaz Havu team is a social, racial, economic, and environmental justice team. And when people ask us what we mean, I break it down further. But it's amazing how the horror stories I hear from past
Absolutely.
clients, especially women too, women, single moms,
Right.
who are patronized.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important for all of us to understand as realtors, especially in this business, to see that it's not about us. It's about our clients. And I always tell my agents that it's not about us. We need to look at what our clients want, what their needs are, what their wants are. It's about them. So let me ask you this. How have you adjusted your business throughout, the COVID, and especially being 1 mile away from what has happened in our country in the past few months, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So I am originally from Bombay, from Mumbai, India. So when you grow up in a city like that, you are always very scrappy, and you always like to be on your toes, nimble. I've also been very lucky that I'm the oldest of four girls, and I had a father at a time when most of my classmates were being married off in India. I had a father who insisted that I get my bachelor's, master's, and a PhD and an MBA.
Hmm.
So, and a lot of I get it that a lot of people say real estate does not require a lot of education. However, if you do, it helps you understand what's happening with your clients, and
Right.
and plan for the future, as well as plan for study business trends and economic trends and environmental trends, and plan for what to do for your business in advance. So in the case of COVID, what we did was we just rolled with it. We literally we in my previous career. So my husband and I, we own the Vast Harwood team. He's Andy Harwood. And when we first started out in this business, which was about 3.5 years ago, because our background was advertising and marketing, we worked at ad agencies. He was an art director. I was a band copywriter. Um, we just focused on creating a complete experience for the clients, because when we were in advertising, our clients at that time were CEOs and CMOs at Target, Best Buy, Medtronic, all these big league companies. How do you my one advice to a lot of new realtors is, if you're coming from another career, figure out how to use your experience in your past career to boost your real estate career. I know I'm jumping spots, but
No problem.
so when we first started out, we used to treat every listing like a brand. We used to do a video, we used to do a web page, we used to go heavy on social media, because that's what I did in my previous career. And we used to have realtors laugh at us. I mean, people were like, "Why are you doing so much? You should just put out your sign and it's on the MLS, blah blah blah." But when you're just starting out and you are a person of color, especially if you are a woman of color with a very distinct accent like mine, and you're the CEO,
Yes.
you get judged by everyone. Yes, you do. So
Yeah.
how do you make, and we learned very quickly that people like friends, relatives, etc. will not hire you. Being broke and not having anything is a nice litmus test to figure out
Oh,
who your true friends are. So, as a Keller Williams agent, I did everything that I was trained. I was door knocking, blah, blah, blah. And also, a lot of my door knocking things, when I was door knocking a neighborhood, I had a gun pointed at me because it was during the election era. So, my husband was the one I told my husband, perhaps you need to be the one doing open houses. He said, well, you're more vocal, you're more open about social justice, etc. You should just talk about you you're the better person.
right.
And I think something inside me snapped at that time, and I said, okay, screw it, let me just continue doing open houses. Let me just get more vocal. I would get onto Facebook. We didn't have Facebook Live. So I used to just record myself and do tours of the house on my iPhone. And then Andrew said, let's just do actual videos. We did web pages, etc. So if you see the Vaz Harwood brand, there is a process to our mark. So while most realtors talk about having a process for transactions, etc., we had a process for our marketing as well.
Right. And that's what I was about to ask you, is that what is your process? I mean, not to get too deep into it, but you have to have systems and processes in place to actually, to every agent out there, everyone, I believe that there should be systems and processes in place. But with that being said, let me ask you this question real quick. What is your advice that you would give to a newer agent, or even a less experienced agent? I know we dived into it a little bit earlier, but tell me, I know we have a couple more seconds to go, or a minute to go. Tell me a little bit about that. What advice would you give them?
Do what Like I said, if you were in a previous career, figure out how to use the skill sets from that career, and how to maximize it for real estate. For example, if in our case we loved marketing and we wanted
Right.
to have fun, despite being hopelessly broke, we wanted to have fun. So we
Wow.
did that, and people noticed. And then when you're doing listings, when you're treating a listing like a brand, obviously it's about getting as many. What is marketing? Marketing is about getting a lot of eyeballs and feet through the door, right? So that resulted in multiple offers. One client would talk to the other, and that's how our business grew. In our first year, so in Minnesota, most new realtors close about 2 or 3 deals. We ended up closing 29 in our first year, 42 in our second. Last year was 68. And
Wow.
this year, I believe we are on track to close 120, I think. But fingers crossed. That being said, stay positive, because if your mindset gets screwed up,
Right.
Cherry Benjamin has this wonderful saying. She always, she's a wonderful coach. She always talks about having a tunnel vision, and about your
Focus.
goal. A
Right.
tunnel vision. You focus about your goals. Everything else is a distraction. Everything else is a
Exactly.
distraction. And
Well,
so just another tip, get to know your friends and get to know people on Facebook, on Instagram. Don't just talk about real estate. I started talking about my hobbies, which is Indian
right.
cooking and gardening.
Yeah.
On Nextdoor, we started getting a ton of listings on Nextdoor, not because we were doing ads, but because I was always out there asking people, hey, who wants to learn a chai recipe? Who wants
Yeah.
to learn a tandoori chicken recipe? And this way, 12,000 neighbors got to know me. And
Right.
it's simple little stuff like that. Don't
Yeah.
Real estate is really easy. Try to use your strengths and not overthink it. Like, for instance, today you can't do an open house, right? But
Yeah.
there's no issue. I mean, with Facebook Live and your technology and iPhones, you can do so much.
It was such a pleasure talking to you. We ran out of time, but thank you so much for those amazing tips. Hope to see you soon. Thank you, Cheryllyne. Talk to you soon.
Take
Bye
care.
for now. Bye bye.